When we're done creating this resource pool, we can switch back to the Gantt chart. Move the splitter between the entry table and the Gantt chart so you can see the resource name column. Again, we are only enter resource for the lowest level tasks and do not enter anything for the summary tasks. Starting from the first task, you can click into the resource name box for interview users. It will give you all the available resource type. Of course, you can check the resource type needed for this task, like design engineer and marketing specialist. If you expand this column a little bit, you will see these two resources being assigned to interview user. However, using this way to assign resources, you cannot adjust how many of each resource you want to assign to this task. You will need to adjust the amount of resource by going to resource menu, and you can use assign resource button here, which is already have these two resources checked. We now adjust the unit of it. Let's say we need 2 design engineers and we use 1 marketing specialist. Replace and close. So now you can see in this box we have 200% of design engineers, and we have marketing specialist with no percentage number. That means 100% by default. Of course, if you know that you're gonna use different percentage number for each of the resource, then the easy way will be using assigned resources tool directly. So the next task, define the requirement, click into it. This time we're gonna go resource menu and use the assign resources tool directly. And for this task, we again need 2 design engineer and 1 marketing specialist assigned. Now from here, I'm going to answer one of the questions we held in the previous tutorial. What's the difference between fixed unit and a fixed duration for task type? If you take a look at this design logic task, click to it, right click, information, and you can go to Advanced tab. Remember, one thing we did for a new project is to change the project task type to fixed durations for all new tasks. If you did not do that before, by default, all the tasks will be fixed unit with effort-driven checked. This means for each of your tasks, the work required to complete this task is fixed. If you have less resource assigned to this task, it will take longer duration. But if you have more resources assigned to the same task, the duration will be reduced. So let's take a look at this. If you hit OK here, our task design logic, the duration is 3 days. And then we decide to assign the resource to it, a hardware engineer. And before we assign any other resource, I accidentally click assign. You can close this window. However, I realized that I do need another resource, a software engineer assigned to this task as well. So I go back to assign resources. And this time I go to software engineers and change this number to 100% and assign. By the time you do that, the duration of this task design logic changed from 3 days to 1.5 days. And of course, the summary level duration changed as well. Obviously, this is not what we intended. We don't want the program to automatically change the duration when we adjust the resources assigned to these tasks. And if you did not notice these changes and you keep working on this project, then all information in this project could be messed up. You can see those boxes that's been highlighted in light blue. Those are the affected cells by this change. To avoid this kind of things happen to your project, the safe thing to do is before you enter any of the tasks, you can make all task type as fixed duration, like what we did before. Of course, if you did not do this step, and this kind of mistake do happen in your project, to notice it, every time when you assigned new resources, you have to watch the duration and make sure there is nothing changed. If there is any change happened, or there is a light blue highlighted area, that means something changed, you will need to go back to the early stage and then reassign the resource. So for example, in this case, I'm gonna remove the additional resource to back to 3 days duration for design logic. And I'm gonna close it here, and you can double check on this task. And of course, we want it to be changed to fixed duration. Click OK. And now you can use Assign the Resources tools and safely add another resource to it. Now I'm going to keep working on the rest of this project and assign the resource for each of the tasks. Double check the resource types and the amount of resource for each of the type. Remember that we do not assign resource to summary tasks, and we don't have to assign resource for the milestone. In a Gantt chart, the resource name will show with each of the tasks as well.